Hello students, today in your algebra class we're going to be working on finding and estimating square roots. So before we begin, let's try these quick warm-up problems. This would be a good spot for you to pause your screen and try these on your own. Hopefully you've paused your screen and now you're just checking the answers. Number 1 asks you to factor x squared plus 5x minus 6. Now because we know the xbox method, hopefully you got the following answers. X minus 2 times the quantity x minus 3. Now let's look at number 2. It says using the graph to the right, find where it crosses the x-axis. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to use my arrow tool really quick. And we're going to point these out. This crosses over here at -6, and this crosses over here at +1. These 2 points are called the roots, or zeros, or solutions of a graph. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to find square roots. Now, there's 2 questions that I posed to you, which is what is a rational square root and what is an irrational square root? Now, a rational square root is a square root that could be simplified into a fraction of whole numbers. An irrational square root is one that cannot be. For example, the square root of 2, square root of 4, when we simplify that, the square root of 4 is 2. Therefore, this would count as a rational square root. Now, the square root of 3, for example, can't be simplified. Therefore, it is an irrational square root. So, how do we find a square root? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take each number in the square root and make a factor tree. So to do that, we write down the factors of 4, which in this case would be 2 times 2, and we want to simplify it until we get the prime factorization, or the numbers as small as we can. And here we end up with 2 times 2. Now, when we take a square root, what we're really looking for is a pair of items that we can pull out. So in here we have the square root of 2 times 2. Now the way I look at it is, if we're trying to take out a square root, we need to be able to pull out 2, or we're looking for pairs of items. So in this instance, we have a pair of 2's. So we have a pair of 2's. Anytime we have a pair of items in a square root, we can take them out. However, we'll only write down one of them. And then we'll look back at our square root and see if there's anything left. If there is, we leave it under the square root. If not, we leave it alone. Therefore, our answer is just 2. Example 2 should give us a better idea of what we're looking for and how to simplify these. So, square root of 8 is 2 times 4. And 2 is already in prime factorization, or it's already prime, so we're going to break down the 4 a little bit more. So this gives us 2 times 2. And now we're left with, once we're done simplifying it, we have 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 times 2. Now, we're going to circle our pair of items. So in here again we have a pair of 2's. Now we can pull that out and write down just 1, 2, just so we can pull it out of the square root sign. That's the whole purpose. We can pull it out of the square root sign and just write it down. And if we look back at our square root sign, there is still a 2 left inside. So we just carry it over. So our final answer would be 2 square root 2, because this 2 was left over, and that's your answer. We're going to do it again for example 3. In this case, 37 is already a prime number. Therefore, it can't be simplified, and we would say that it is an irrational square root. Example 4 wants us to estimate the root. So the way that we do that is, I'm going to show you my quick and easy way of doing this. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write a series of numbers 1 through 8, and then we're going to square each of them. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 25, 36, 49, 56, oh, I'm sorry, 64, so you'll see two lists of numbers. The first list of numbers are just the numbers in general. Below them are their appropriate squares. Now the question is to figure out, where does 60 fall in between? Obviously it doesn't fall in between 1 and 4, 4 and 9. It actually falls in between 49 and 64. Therefore, we could say that our root is between 7 and 8. Because when we take the square root of 60, it would be a much smaller number. Just like if we took the square root of 64, it'd be 8. And if we took the square root of 49, it'd be 7. Therefore, the square root of 60 should be somewhere in between 7 and 8. So example 5 wants us to simplify 9/4. Now for these, all you're really doing is you're applying that square root to each item. So let me break that down a little bit further to explain what I'm talking about. So what it turns out to be is the square root of 9 divided by the square root of 4. So that should be easy. The square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 4 is 2. Therefore, the square root of 9/4 is 3/2. Now it's your turn. Try solving these 3 problems. When you're done, please put them on your notes. So that's all for now. I'll see you guys next time.